I think that people hate me when I'm not, for lack of a better term, and to steal a few lines from Bill O'Reilly, as bold and as tenacious on things as I could be, because I think that even though people may disagree with me on things, and this isn't everybody, obviously, some people hate me just because they hate me and would like to see me otherwise dead, but they can't legally get away with it. But I think that most people who hate me hate that even if they disagree with my views, I'm not as bold and tenacious on my views and I'm not honest about who I am. And I think that people like that honesty about, okay, not only are you, if you're a person like me, not only are you holding others to account and talking about subjects of the day and things like that, but you're also talking about yourself, who you are, where you come from, things like that. And I think that people want to honestly see more of that, where they might hate your guts, but they at least want you to be open about, even things like that, where, for example, if you're yawning, even, mundane things like that, you suddenly find out that, oh, it's not mundane. Maybe you're yawning like that because, someone's been wearing on you all day, like depression, OCD, anxiety, wondering about things. For example, right now, I'm about to totally, this is shallow, but this is where I am in part. Right now, I'm about to go totally crazy because I accidentally lost my cell phone, left it with a friend, and I haven't gotten a call back from him yet. He doesn't realize that I accidentally left my cell phone at his truck because he was driving me to and from a jail that we were supposed to visit for one of my classes yesterday. And so now I'm about to go crazy because my cell phone is pretty much what I use to keep in touch with my family and my friends, and what I use is my alarm clock, what I use to get news alerts, and just a whole bunch of other, I guess, materials or whatever you want to call it. And also for the fact that, well, like I said, part of it is the cell phone thing, because here I am without another way to keep in touch with family and friends and to get things done that I need to get done. And also for the fact that I have a single mom who can't go out like a lot of my friends' other moms and just, buy everything that I need. For example, one of my classmates once, this was back in high school, one of my classmates had a phone and he just basically threw in the water and he just said, "Oh, it's okay. I'll just, get another phone." And I don't have that kind of life where if something happens, even if it's by accident, oh, I could just go out and get another phone, big deal. I'm not. And as a lot of people have read on my blog, I obviously, and as I've said here, I obviously come from a very crazy family, particularly on my dad's side. So I don't have, you know, this rich ivory tower kind of life. And by American standards, I have a life that leaves me at the bottom of the social rung. And so, that's just where I am in part. And people, like I said, people are going to say, oh, you're shallow, you're this and this and this. But even among mundane thing, like losing something that you use every day for a lot, can really just, at least if you're like me, really set you thinking about that stuff. And I think, as I said, I think that's where people like me to be honest about that stuff, even if they don't agree with everything I'm saying, because at least they can look at who I am and know that, hey, I'm not just some, for lack of a better term, just some armchair blogger or YouTube just saying things and spouting off. I'm a real person with real views, even if you don't agree with everything that I say, and even if I look back someday and, don't agree with everything that I've said. And for example, one of the things I still think about is I look back and think about where I used to defend Roman Catholicism and say, oh, you know, Roman Catholicism is just another denomination of Christianity. And of course, I had to go through things to find out how much of a cult Roman Catholicism really is, because people weren't joking when they were saying that Roman Catholicism is a cult. By the way, I'm not talking about evangelical Roman Catholicism, I've clarified that. But then I also think about, especially in light of losing my cell phone, I think, well, gee, what did I do now? And why isn't God answering my prayers for my friend to call back and all that? And realize that he has my cell phone and just give me a call. And my mom and sister often joke that when I talk like that, well, gee, maybe you ought to become Catholic. Sometimes I wonder if I shouldn't. I mean, even, just things like that. And of course, I would become an evangelical Catholic, but I know that I'd be going into a place where, unfortunately, you even have guys like Joe Paterno and Jerry Sandusky coming out of, if you will, the woodwork or the place or whatever you want to call it. So, well, that said, and I know that that bored some people, but I think it gives them an idea of where I'm coming from and just a few examples of where I come from and who I am and on days like this and whatever. And, well, Shabbat Shalom and have a good evening.